We're going live again.
We're on text message communication on my phone out
Okay,
here.
we're back.
In case anybody wants to communicate to us, like Jen was communicating to let us know that it was working.
Okay, we're live. Hello, hopefully y'all come back. we're back at Starlight Talk. I'm here with David Mumm from Whole Brain Fitness. As you go check out the website, you know my introduction by now. So I'm going to skip that and just get into it. So, David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is David Mumm, and I am the director of the Aurora Institute for Accelerating Human Development, and we do the Whole Brain Fitness program that you were referring to. It's a program that has developed over the last, 15 years or so. And I started it in Louisville, Kentucky at a clinic there that we started up, a holistic health clinic. My background is psychology, basically clinical psychology, cognitive psychology, accelerated learning, speed reading, memory training in the early days. Then got into body-centered psychotherapy, and that evolved after some real challenges of the part of my brain into what is now the Whole Brain Fitness program, but it evolved over, about a 20-year period of time, including my brain melting down from mercury poisoning.
Yeah, I like hearing the personal stories about how people got started, and I've had a lot of people in the autism community talk about how they began. They either have a child with autism or they have autism themselves, and yours isn't quite related to autism, but you have a personal story that got you involved in what you do, and I think that always creates something better because people do that, start doing what works instead of what we all think we should be doing and what everyone else is doing.
Yes, right on. Yeah, reality is a stern teacher, but an accurate teacher.
Yeah. Did you want to share your story?
Sure. You want? How far back do we go? We'll go to the mercury poisoning. Maybe is a good place, because that gave me a lot of personal insight into the experience that people were having. I was actually practicing body-centered psychotherapy in Columbus, Ohio. I had a very successful practice, and I had chelation therapy was done on me. It was badly done, and it caused a meltdown of my whole higher brain activities. And so I rather relied on my mind as being, getting through graduate school and teaching accelerated learning. And, I was all about that. I used to do memory demonstrations in public and taught speed reading, taught people how to read like a couple thousand words a minute. So I was really into the high performance end of working with people. Time management training was also there, and helping people be the best that they could be was what I was all about. And I found myself, doing some remarkable work as a body-centered psychotherapist, working with early childhood traumas, really understanding how we embody our traumas, our experiences. And then I got what I like to call God's PhD experience, which was to have this mercury poisoning. What happened was a complete meltdown. I went from being like a straight A student in grad school, running my own business, teaching speed reading, full psychotherapy practice, teaching brain gym work. I was full tilt boogie. I was a highly productive person, and within a couple months, I had this mercury circulated through my brain and body and into my brain, and caused a meltdown of all my higher cognitive functions. I I say something of a blithering idiot. I just couldn't remember. I couldn't write like I had been able to. I was a phenomenal writer, and I became ADD. I could not control my attention. It was just like boing, 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 boing. I was all over the place with that. So next thing you know, I'm trying medication, and I didn't know what happened. And it took me years to get my brain back, to put it all back together. And, I could tell longer or shorter versions of all my stories, but you tell me, just I'll try and I like to be on the shorter end of what I might say so that you can, ask me, take me in the direction you'd like to go in with this. I'm at your service about this.
Yeah. So we met in New York when I was
That's right. Yeah.
visiting my sister in college, and we mentioned, my dad and I mentioned I work with autism, and then you brought up, or JD brought up that you guys work with autism, and it started back with you and your story, and that brought you into this world that, like where life takes you in unexpected ways, like that, where I originally went to film school and ended up working with the autism community. So, and so I found it really interesting also what you said. One of the first things you said to me was that you believe in the placebo effect, and that you don't know, like, if some of your work, like, it is just the placebo effect. And I've never heard like someone say like, oh, I don't know if what we do like actually works. And I found that like so honest. And I don't know, I love that was how you introduced, because I do believe in those, like, if you believe that something's gonna help you, and you put in the work, it's gonna help you way more than when you don't put in that effort. Because one of the biggest things we find is those with autism, when they turn around 13, they go into defense mode. And a lot of parents try to pull them out of that state of mind and force them out. And I'm like, they're not going to come out until they want to.
Right.
So the best thing you do is create a safe environment for them, to allow them to come out on their own. And so I connected with your idea that even if it's the placebo effect that what your work does, it's choosing to let what you do help you make progress. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's actually your ability to hear what I said, I think, was what really kind of brought us together, because people don't always understand what I'm saying. What are you talking about? And what I'm talking about is inside of an experience, that we share. And I got, a lot of experiences of what works and doesn't work, in going through these trials myself, but having half a brain left and having a considerable education in clinical psychology, able to, start to ferret out my experience. And I was also a meditator, and meditation really helped me a lot. I always like to put in a plug for meditation, because meditation, as I see it, is learning to control your mind. And that self-control is all important. And when you talk about the defense mode, going into the defense mode is automatically undermines focus and attention control, because it's a hijack, right? You probably heard that term, the amygdala hijack, where the brainstem, the reptilian brain, takes over, right? And we're in the defense mode. We're in the fight or flight mode, or the muscles tighten up. You get an adrenal response. Your all stations are on. There's often a hyper awareness, but undermines all these up here is our frontal cortex, our executive skills, and this is attention, concentration, self-control, memory, all those things. And so when we get caught in that defense mode, it really makes this difficult, and it undermines its development. Like when you're a kid and you're stuck, you live in that state. Oh my gosh, that's what a struggle in the nervous system. So we've learned lots of, like 30 years of learning in mind-body therapies has brought us some highly effective techniques and methods that we understand pretty well. And to understand them, you have to understand the brain and the body really differently. We use 5 biological systems that conventional doctors just don't know very much about.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I really liked is that everything was very non-invasive. There wasn't a lot of touching. There wasn't a lot of uncomfortable things where, like, I've been to so many doctors throughout my life, like dealing with autism, and I felt like that I didn't have much of a choice in what happened to my body, and that I had a lot of trauma around there where I don't trust authority and I don't trust doctors very much because of those events where when we went use the wave machine and experienced the different things. It was very comfortable and like a touching kind of experience for me that I haven't had very much of when dealing with different diagnoses and dealing with different even talk therapy can feel very judgy and like I'm not in control, where I felt like at any moment I could be like, okay, we can stop, that kind of thing. Where like when you're dealing with like a lot of machines around you that you can't always be like, okay, I need to stop right now and then need a break. Where like everything we did felt very comfortable for me, and I'm a very sensory sensitive person, and so I thought that was very appealing for especially the autism community, or very sensitive to sound and touch and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much for picking up on that. That's another unusual feature of what we do. It's based on a different experience. We're not doctors, and we're not trying to fix people. We're engaging them into a transformational developmental experience that's a body, mind, body educational process. And we call it, we used to call it the fun center. We try to make a place where it's fun. We try to laugh and make people comfortable. We serve nice little foods. And we just try and have people have a great experience and feeling good about themselves, so they're not in the what we call the doctor-patient game, right? That's what you're talking about, the doctor-patient game, and you're kind of, they're looking at you through some kind of lens of a diagnosis, and we're helping people be the best that they can be. We just want to help them reduce their stress and be the best thing we can do. So we're nurturing. We nurture and challenge people to be the best that they can be.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you had the story about working with someone on the spectrum. I think it was, and they wanted to improve socially, but their example was just like, I want to get close more sales. It was like very specific, like their goal, and you took that and just went with it. And where like so many times I've talked about, this is my goal. And well, you need to focus on this person, that person. You just went, well, yes, it validated that, and I really like that, like having that validation and going, we're gonna do exactly what you want. It is also very rare.
Yeah, thank you. Did we learn that working with kids? I've worked with many children, and I started asking the kids what they want, to set a goal, because we're goal oriented. We're not, again, diagnosis oriented. So I ask people, what would you really like? And they say, I want to ride a skateboard. And mom's going, whoa, hey, what about math? What about reading and all that? And we're going to go with the skateboard, right? And because there's motivation, there's juice there. Yeah, that's something I really want to do. And guess what? If you get skateboard going, that's going to get left and right brain working, and it's going to get your balance system, and it's going to integrate your visual system, and you're going to be more ready for reading, and you're going to be successful because, hey, now you can skateboard, right? Now that's some juice to handle the tough stuff like the reading and the writing stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely our philosophy at OurTism. Is the client is the person with autism in the room with us who's working on themselves, and they get what they want to work on because there's motivation there, and normally their goals might not be the same as like their parents or their caretakers, but we eventually get to it because life kind of everything overlaps.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's the holistic approach, it's the holistic approach. Holism is saying, let's look at the whole system, look at how everything works together. Mm-hmm. And so the holistic approach says mind, body, and spirit, right? How do all these things work together? Willpower is kind of where we tune in with spirit, right? Your spirit, the spirit that you have is shown up in what you want, in your motivation, your inspiration to do things. And what a great place to begin, right?
Mm-hmm. So do you have any stories working with anyone with autism that you share?
Yeah, let me tell you some things. Yeah, a second. Grab my notebook here. Where this started with autism was really at the clinic when Dr. Bears started sending me children who were on the spectrum, and I actually knew nothing about it. I was back in psychology that had something to do with bad mothering, and I didn't understand what regressive autism was all about. Like Temple Grandin educated me on that. I had the great opportunity to meet her. She was at Cornell University here in my hometown, and it was just really great to hear her speak. And I learned about regressive autism from her work and that distinction there. And moms started coming in with their children, and we were using some advanced technology from come from both Russia. We had Russian and German and Chinese medicine approaches that I had been learning and equipment. And we were doing some really interesting things under Dr. Baird's supervision with these kids. And the moms started educating me about what was really going on. And I started working with them. And I used the Brain Gym. I started using Brain Gym, which is neurosensory motor integration work. I think you and I talked about that a little bit, some Brain Gym work. And we added this bioresonance work from Germany. And that was able to reduce toxins and reduce stress loads very quickly. And with my background in accelerated learnings and education, I started to put together a program. So I put together a whole training program that started as the BrainWorks program, and it was really the inspiration was working with people on the spectrum. And our ability to help them was the inspiration, and this is now unbelievably 15 years later. And oh my gosh, so much learning. It's like nonstop learning for decades here. Never stopped learning about people and how bodies go together. We have so much now information on neuroscience and biology that comes in from all over the world. So we get to study. We have an institute here. We study and we put things together. We put all kinds of new ideas together, new technology, and over a 15-year period, it's turned into something really effective. We call it the biofitness system, the Aurora biofitness system. And people come through the program now. It's called the Whole Brain Fitness Program, and it's a 3-month program. And it's transformative. People's lives change from it. let's see, I guess what's coming to mind, there was a 16-year-old boy who came in, this was about a year and a half ago or so, and he was just a really nice kid, very shy, and he had a lot of problems connecting with people, all the kind of typical problems of attention and anxiety, some sleep issues, and food sensitivities. And through the program, like, these things all started to smooth out for him, and just he started to get more confident in himself and what he was doing, and he loved writing. He started doing creative writing, and so we encouraged him, and he started writing stories. That was really great. And we work with what's called the social engagement system. I don't know if you guys have talked about that. That's some exciting, relatively cutting-edge work in neuropsychology. And we learned how to activate the social engagement system and this particular brain circuitry. We reduce chronic stress and optimize biocircuitry or biocommunication circuits. And in this case, with the social engagement system, he went from only being able to talk to his sister for 5 minutes on the phone to 30 minutes in less than a week. He started making eye contact like he hadn't made before, and his face, the structure of his face actually changed. And that was really neat. It's related to the vagus nerve and the way that we relate to each other. And so it turned on this whole system for him. And so it was really, a great experience. Now, I don't think we have a video of him on, but we have a couple of other people who are on the spectrum who are speaking about our work, I think on that website where you're showing right now.
Yeah, I know one of the things you work with is trauma, and we found that so much of the so-called autism symptoms or comorbidities come from trauma, where when that and is taken away, and you're taken to a more confident mind, a healthier mind. People believe that their autism is cured. That's not true. You still have autism, but the functioning goes from, like, there's people who are diagnosed with like functioning that then feel like they've gone all the way to high functioning just because they've been able to deal with their trauma.
Right.
And
right.
One of the things we work a lot with Dan Grady, and what he believes is a lot of society, what society puts on those with autism, trying to mold them to fit the neurotypical mold instead of creating an environment where we can thrive in. Creates that defense mode, and creates that trauma, it creates a lot of what we see with autism, where you seem to have created such a great place that helps deal with that sort of things going on, where I feel like so much of those who try to help those with autism think about it as getting rid of autism symptoms or curing autism or helping them progress. Where it's with you when we talked about it, it felt very comfortable because you're like, we helped you with trauma, we helped you, with all these things that affect you in a negative way. Not all I'm gonna get rid of this wonderful, because I think autism has such wonderful things about it, and it's seen in such a negative way by a lot of the medical community, and so I really admire that about your practice.
Yeah. Well, my work in psychotherapy, body-centered psychotherapy, often had me working with people who've been abused in early childhood, and so there's trauma. That's a big source of very difficult to get rid of post-traumatic stress disorder in early childhood. Well, if you step back from that and look at what is trauma, trauma is trauma, right? And the trauma that's experienced by a person for whatever reason is there, and it impacts the defensive system, right? That's how we get caught in the defense. The trauma lands in the body as a memory pattern that keeps us in a state of defense, in the defensive mode. So when you release the trauma, then the system calms down. But you have to release it not from the mind, but very deep in the nervous system. So we're using the primitive nervous system, Chloe, the deep primitive motor reflexes that are seen in infancy that have the effect of putting the whole body into a fight or flight state. And when we work at that level, at a very deep level, and we communicate with the nervous system in such a way that the trauma is actually released at a very deep level, and it resets the point back in the brainstem that keeps the fight or flight up. So it's pretty cool. We think we're excited about it. You know, we add movement patterns and essential oils. As you said, it's kind of fun to do. It's not like horrible. It's not like seeing a doctor. We're doing movement patterns. We use essential oils. People start feeling better. And, they're feeling good about themselves, better about themselves. They're a place where we have people of all ages come to see us. We have people, we work with 2-year-olds, we have 89-year-olds, we do senior tune-ups, we work with adults who want to be better at reading or communication or dancing. We see people who want to dance better, all kinds of things. And a lot of their inhibition problems, like even learning problems, has to do with some kind of trauma or some kind of stress or some kind of toxin. You know, we haven't started talking about toxins yet, but toxins are a big part of all this as well. So, and that lands kind of as trauma as well. So all these little things kind of add up as our model. We call ourselves biological stress experts. We're not doctors. If people have a disease, we send them to the doctor. But maybe, you know, biological stress has a lot to do with what we're doing. And so we systematically identify 8 different categories of biological stress and systematically dissolve all 8 categories of that biological stress. And then the inner gifts and abilities start to really shine. And we do the same thing with virtually everybody, whether they're on the spectrum or not, or whatever age. We go through an assessment process, find out what their stressors are, take them through the dissolving process, encourage them to be the best that they can be, focused on their positive goals, and we get great results with that.
Yeah, it's just so awesome and refreshing hearing the way you approach dealing with this, because I just hear so often, even from parents that just want like a quick fix, and they try to push those on the spectrum or anyone through things that they don't want to do, and so to create an environment that you can feel safe in to do like very vulnerable things. Like it's vulnerable to try to set goals and to say, you know what, it might not work out. I want to try and progress and better myself. That's a very vulnerable place to be, and to allow someone to feel safe to express that and to work on that is very rare.
Well, the trust is where we start, you know, starting with that and releasing by just doing. We have a process called Rapid Relax. I think we thank you, your whole family. I think everybody was going through Rapid Relax. So it's a simple 5-minute movement pattern exercise, and it immediately shifts you out of the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system. And soon we'll have that online. We're working to make our work more available to people, and so we can teach more people this, because with this Rapid Relax and a few of the other techniques, people are actually learn. You know, we would teach teach our clients that, and they learn to take themselves out of the defensive mode, right? And when they do, and they learn to turn on their frontal cortex, right? So we're reducing the brainstem back here, and we're activating at the same time the frontal cortex, right? So like there's a concentration breath. I don't know if you've ever seen that, where you breathe, you activate the mammalian diving reflex, and you get more oxygen up to your brainstem. And when you do, it takes, you know, about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute to do. And that's something we could do if you'd like to on our, while we're talking here.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's relatively easy to demonstrate. Some of the other things are a little more awkward to do. But yeah, hey, if you're out there and would like to concentrate more and experience this technique, I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to be amazing for you, but it might be. You know, we don't know. The worst that could happen is really nothing. You know, nothing bad can happen. That's what's great about these things. So, you know, the concentration breath it opens up blood supply to the frontal cortex and brings more oxygen and more activation. So you get more ability to have self-control, calmness, concentration, planning, decision-making power, just like that. So the way we like to do it is you take a deep breath and hold your breath is basically all there is to it. We like to add some finger mudras like that, where you put your thumb and first finger together. There's some very interesting connections between the fingertips and the brain right up here. And a little homunculus and the fingers develop a particular part of the brain that really articulates concentration, fine motor skills. So thumb and first finger together. We take a deep breath, inhale nice and deep and full, and hold your breath. And you want to hold it as long as you can hold it comfortably. And when it starts to get a little uncomfortable, let it go. Exhale. Exhale. There we go. Exhale all the way. And then we go to the thumb and the second finger. Thumb and second finger. Inhale deep and full. In through nose. As much as you can take in, and hold your breath. Don't make yourself uncomfortable. When it feels like, okay, it's getting a little difficult, let it go. We're just triggering a reflex. Next finger, thumb and the third finger goes down. Inhale and hold. It's fine to close your eyes if you want to. That gives your mind a rest. Thumb and fourth finger. Might want to give that a try, Chloe. We can close your eyes on camera there. They are very nice. That's it. See how simple that is? So pay attention. Let's see if you can notice, Chloe. I'll use you as our example here. See if that feels any different. Notice if your mind is quieter, or if your thoughts have slowed down a little bit, or you feel a little more calm or a little more present.
Yeah, I definitely feel like my mind has cleared, and I'm more aware and more present in the moment.
Great, great. I think you can see it if you're looking at her. You can see her movements have slowed down a little bit, just a little. You can see a little calmer. Eyes are a little more relaxed. You feel that, Chloe? Your eyes are more just calm. Just look calmer. So that's nice. Thank you. That was great. You know, that's a great example of how quick, right, and easy these things can be when you understand, you know, from the inside the neurophysiology of it all.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. Are we getting any questions? Well, if you guys want to leave any questions in the comments, we'd love to answer them. Yeah, if you're confused about anything, we can go over stuff we already talked about. Even if you have questions unrelated to the topic, we did get one is, where are you located?
So we're waiting for questions. Yes, it is Ithaca, New York.
Yep. I'm looking through the comments. Yeah, just people saying they were watching and interested. Yeah, I'm running out of questions. Oh, I remember JD talking about how there was a chemical released in infants that helped them learn facial expressions. I remember that story that those with autism don't have as much of that chemical or don't release it. Do you know that story? That your wave machine. Oh, no. Remember, if you guys are still watching.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hey there. Sorry, we had a little glitch over here, but I believe it's coming back together.
Well, I remember.
There we go. Can you see us okay? We going?
Yeah.
Okay? Oh, great. Okay, super.
So, I remember JD saying some research that you found out about infants either release or have a chemical that helps them learn facial expression, and that you found that those with autism either don't have as much or don't release as much, and you guys were using the wave machine to help with that. Do you know that?
You're coming through kind of choppy, and I was not fully able to hear the question. I kind of heard it. You were asking about using the machine for toxins.
Yeah.
And what was your question?
I remember JD telling me that there was a chemical that was released in infants that helped them learn facial expression, and that you found that with autism either don't have
oxytocin?
release as much, and you were using the wave machine to help with that.
Yeah, I think that was the oxytocin, the cuddling hormone, the bonding hormone. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he told you that story. Yeah, that's pretty exciting, interesting things. I talked earlier about the social engagement system, and so this hormone is part of that system. Oxytocin is considered like the bonding hormone. It's like part of that. Like vitamin D is part of is a hormone for the immune system. Oxytocin, melatonin that helps us sleep. These are endogenous hormones in the body, and we found sometimes the body gets confused. There's like a confusion in the immune system, and using this German technology, we're able to very quickly, within just really a few minutes, in many cases, help the body straighten it out in such a way that it begins to use the oxytocin. And that's what we did with this boy that I was talking about earlier, and that change in his affect there. We got another one on of our clients who's a young man as well, and he's you can see a video of him actually talking about what it's like to have to go through this experience, and like suddenly, oh yeah, well, I just kind of feel I feel warmer, I feel more affectionate, I feel more like connecting and talking to people like that. We did this with a gentleman who was Asperger profile close to 60, since he was a kid. And as we went through the process, he started making eye contact like he had never made before, and started like wanting to connect with people. And his sister was there. She wept every day. She would watch him just enjoy, tears of joy to see him, like, just kind of relax. His whole body relaxed. His affect changed. His ability to connect and smile. And it was all there. He was like a really amazing person, a very gifted person. He was like, Phil is a phenomenal musician. He's a jazz musician. Is that right, JD? He's a jazz musician and repairs pinball machines. Like nobody knows how to do that these days. He's an amazing guy. And it's just his life just got easier. His gifts came forward more easily, and he just became a happier person like that. And it took, oh gosh, people spend about 12 to 20 hours with us in our program. It's really fast.
Yeah, I found that really cool because those of us who have been learning socializing, like I found that most of us on the spectrum learn through books and television and
Right.
kind of things because they simplify socializing so
Yeah.
much that it's easy to understand like the facial expressions and all that kind of stuff through these characters. You connect with these characters, and then
Right.
and video games today are a huge asset to learning social skills because you can practice online anonymously and then apply those skills in real life. And it takes a long time to learn those skills, but we found that those then with autism that do learn them are actually ahead of a lot of neurotypicals because once we learn a skill, we keep it and like get it down really, really well. And so it's funny, we've seen like people who found a book or found a show or found like whatever worked for them, they'll like go when they see something like a neurotypical doing something socially inaccurate, they're just like, oh, you should read this book, it'll help you a lot.
Yeah, well, that's really neat. I'd like to find out more about those sites. It makes a lot of sense. What we bring to the game is just like getting the neurocircuitry switched on, so then the learning becomes a lot easier. You don't have to do as much repetition as these natural abilities kind of click into place. Were there any other questions came in?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any comments with questions from the audience.
Let's see, we might have scared a few people away there with our beginning.
Have you dealt with parents wanting to help their kids off of video games?
Kids going off medication?
No, video games.
Oh, video games. Okay. Oh boy, video games. It's kind of second. It's not primary to what we do. Each case is different. Everybody's different, and we have some kids who they have breakthroughs in learning to do that because they have breakthroughs in their focus abilities there and their interest levels, like, oh, this is something really cool and fun and something I can do, right, that I feel successful at. So being successful is really important at something. But then it gets to be too much. We have a young man we've been working with recently who's just on playing these like car chasing games constantly, and we picked up that he has some like really major visual problems. And a couple of years ago, he didn't seem to have them. And I said, hey, what is it like for you to see? How many fingers do you see? Right? He said 4. I said, are you seeing double? Here, look at this pin, right? What's happening when you look at this pin? Yeah, oh, that's why you're having trouble seeing the board and the teacher has you up. And so we discovered he's like 15 years old and his eyes are just, they're not tracking, they're not converging, and he's seeing double and he's not telling anybody. And the only thing that's really comfortable for him is playing the video game. So weaning him away from that has been a task.
Yeah, that's one of the most common reference I get is those on the spectrum have trouble socializing, but they found that they love video games because that levels the playing field of socializing. So I get a lot of parents like, how do I get my kid off of video games
Right.
and enter the real world? And like, my simple answer is to make the offline world as comfortable or more comfortable than the online world. And the simplest way to do that is for the parents to join in on the video games with them, which
Yeah.
it seems like so the opposite of what instinctively they want to take the video games away. But when you socialize in the world of what the kid, like little kids want to play with you, like you their imagination, you play dolls with them. You don't expect them to, the adult people. So if you're dealing with someone with autism who just wants to be on a video game to socialize, start socializing them, and like play with them, sit with them, and ask them about the video game. And that's it. That's how me and my mom connected. Is I was obsessed with reading, and so she read the book with me.
Yeah.
And we started talking about the books. And then once that trust was built, I started talking about other things, vulnerable personal things.
Right.
And so that was my advice. So I was wondering if you got parents coming in and saying, "Can you help my kid off the video game?"
Not really. We haven't. We live in upstate New York, and people are more conscious about that up here. It's like socially inappropriate to watch TV up here. For instance, for a lot of natural people who are into the natural world. Our bigger concern around that is really the Wi-Fi connection, and with virtually everybody now, we're teaching them to be cautious about their phones and not keep them on their person. They are disruptive to the system, and they actually put you into the defense mode. We believe, our theory is that the adrenals kind of pick it up, that the body in some way picks up the signals subconsciously, unconsciously. And is that somebody? Is that a dog?
Yeah.
It's a dog. Feed that dog. They unconsciously pick up the signal one way or another, and it sets up the adrenal glands, right, to go into a state of alertness and kind of looking around. Hey, what's going on? That gives you more stimulation, puts you into that state. So just putting them 3 feet away is all you really need to do. If you can keep them 3 feet away from you, then they will not bother you nearly as much. We have testimony from several people on the spectrum who thanked us profusely for teaching them to just move the phone away, keep it 3 feet away from you. Don't keep it on your person. Don't look at it every 10 seconds. We discovered an amazing thing about phones. And your viewers may not know this, Chloe, but you can turn them off. You can just turn the things off. They got a little button, and you don't have to have them on all the time. Like, oh, right, okay, I'm in control of this, right? And I don't want it affecting my health, because it does affect, research shows that it affects autoimmune problems. Autoimmune symptoms go up in the presence of Wi-Fi signals. So a lot of research out there on that subject. So special caution for our spectrum friends.
Yeah, I prefer to keep my phone in my purse rather than my pocket
Uh-huh.
because I pick at it too much in my pocket. It becomes a SIM toy for me. And I'm like turning the screen on and off and like playing with it where when it's not the best SIM toy to use if people are like, are you on your phone? And I'm like, oh, I'm not on my phone. I just need to do something in my hand. And so I
Right.
like subconsciously pulling it out of my pocket. So I prefer it in my purse. So I don't play with it. Um, and then a lot of times I have this sound off, and so I don't hear it because I'm on headsets and I'm on. I do think that to turn the sound off and don't turn it back on.
Right.
Um, and I'm not. I feel like I'm opposite. I should have it on me more because like, people try to get a hold of me. Um, but yeah, we should start wrapping up. So if anyone has any last questions, please leave it. Thank you, David, for joining this week. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but it's a really nice talk. Yeah. So check out the website. Let me show it again. And I'll link it on the Facebook and everything. So go check that out and check out OurTism.com. Go sign up for the support group that's tomorrow. Oh, and I'm so excited. I have a pop-up art show on Friday, and I'm showing my photography at. So all that information is on my Facebook as well. So if y'all are close enough, you can go check that out. And I'm doing it with another person on the spectrum. Her name is Stephanie, who is going to be on this in a few weeks. I'm excited for y'all to meet her. Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. Sorry about all the issues that we started late. Thank you, David, for joining. Stay colorful.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Chloe. Enjoyed the conversation. Bye-bye.